In this video, we are going over the Osee GoStream Duet 8 ISO kit. If you're a remote church or just starting out with your live stream, this has you covered with an 8-channel switcher that can do ISO recording and simultaneous live streaming, and on top of that, include a built-in MultiView monitor. We're going to break down all of this, and if you stick around until the very end of the video, you will learn how you can enter the giveaway because we're giving this away to one of our subscribers. But before we do that, let's get into the video.
This is the ideal portable kit for your church. Osee sent us out this beautiful GoStream kit. It's a 8-input live streaming switcher, and this is great for portable setups, and here's why. Throughout this entire video, we're going to break down some of the specs and features that this kit offers, and can I tell you right off the bat, it is phenomenal. If you are a church that is having a portable setup that has to take down and set up every single Sunday, this may be your next purchase or your next big wing. Now, before we get into this video, we are giving away this entire setup. If you want to enter the giveaway, just watch to the end of this video where you will be able to learn how to enter into this giveaway. It's super easy to enter, but before we do, we're gonna get into the specs of what the Osee GoStream Duet 8 ISO kit has to offer in this video. So we have a secondary camera here where you can see the inside of this kit more clearly and more directly, but it has 8 inputs. Okay, so you have 4 HDMI, so these are your HDMI inputs, and then you have 4 SDI inputs. Okay, this is a great 8-input setup. You know, the majority of modern day switchers are 8 inputs. So you have 4 HDMI, so you can plug in 4 HDMI cameras, and 4 SDI, so you have 4 SDI inputs or cameras. Now, if you want to convert all of your cameras via SDI to run longer distance, or fiber to run longer distance, then you would have to convert those back into HDMI if you have more than 4. So just FYI, you can't just use 8 SDI inputs or all 8 HDMI. It's split up, 4 HDMI, 4 SDI, so you have to use some conversion if you are having more than 4 of the same inputs. This device also has 2 outputs, so you can see output 1 and output 2. You can have, 2 different outputs, maybe one for iMag and one for your live stream, but you can set that up in the menu settings in this device, which we'll get into a little bit later. But besides that, with the 2 outputs, you also have your program and your preview feed, which is pretty cool because you can maybe send out your preview feed to another monitor, so you can monitor your outputs or your inputs before going and switching live to them. Besides that, you also have your inputs here. These are just highlighting the different camera inputs that you have connected into this device. Then you have your live stream. This has an embedded encoder, which I thought was phenomenal because you don't normally see an embed encoder in video switchers. So it's pretty cool that you have your embed encoder here. You can live stream up to 3 destinations simultaneously. Now you have to download their control software. It's available both PC and Mac to input your RTMP, to input your server stream key and all of that information, so you can then go live directly in the box. You can do that in the menu settings here, which we'll get into a little bit later. However, I don't see that feature where you can input the actual stream key. You can only do basic setting changes through the menu settings on the hardware. So you have to download the software in order to input the actual streaming key. Besides that, really cool feature with the live stream. Moving on from there, we have your audio mixer. So these are all of your audio settings, which is really cool. You can do audio follow video with your individual inputs. And then you have your headphone jack here on the top left of the kit. And you have your mic input here, also a 3.5mm mic input. You do have your XLR audio input for mic 1, it's called or titled. The second input for the XLR is in the back of the box. So it's kind of split up there. If you have a left and right channel, you would have to kind of put one on the front and then one in the back, which is kind of weird. I would really wish they would have put both of them in the back or both of them in the front. But now this split kind of situation requires you to put one channel here on the top, one channel in the back. If you just have both channels going through one XLR, then you could do that. I guess plug in that one XLR into mic 1. This kit is phenomenal because you're gonna see on the top left here is the power button. This kit allows you to be fully portable because you have your DC power cable, you have also your PC power cable, like any standard old PC cable you can use for this kit. However, it comes with a DC in 15 volts power bank input. So you have a USB-C input here that you could connect to a power bank and use that as a fail-safe. So if your DC or your PC cables fail you or get disconnected, it'll plug into the power bank so you do not lose a second for your live stream, which I thought was phenomenal and a great idea from Osee. Next up, you have your programs. So you have program 1, program 2, your MultiView, and then your menu button here. So for the menu button, if you can see on our first camera here, it pops up on this window, on the right side of the window, bottom right of your 14-inch monitor. So you can then play around with the settings using this dial here and play around with those settings. You could do anything from adjusting your inputs, adjusting your quality of your streaming, adjusting your quality of your recordings, even like your hard drives, your SSDs, your SD cards. You can do all of that through this embedded setting, menu setting feature here. Now, again, it's kind of limited to what you can do and like the depths of the settings that you can adjust inside the switcher itself, but it's pretty cool that it does give you a quick, a menu option there where you can easily adjust to if needed. But ideally, you would want to use the control software that Osee provides to control this entire setup. Right next to that, you have your record feature. This allows ISO recording. So if you have your SSD plugged in, you have to plug in your hard drive in order to activate the ISO recording. Once you activate that, what does ISO mean? ISO recording means that it records your individual feeds. So it records all 8 cameras individually, and then it records your program feed, which is a really cool feature because if you know church live stream and you have lower thirds pop up or graphics pop up and they get in the way of your post-production, if you want to use that for reels, you can eliminate that by recording the individual inputs, so your individual camera, so you're not getting that program feed only where you're seeing the graphics and everything. So, formatting for social media could be a whole lot better. And right underneath that, you have your playback buttons. You have playback 1 and playback 2. Your SD card has to be plugged into this SD card reader here in order for that to work. So make sure that you have your SD card plugged in before using it, because if not, it wouldn't work. Now, underneath that, you have your transitions. So you can pretty much just turn on or off which transition you want. Right underneath that, you have your mix, your wipe, your dip, and then you have your preview. So you preview what transition looks like, how that transition looks like rather. Then to the right of that, you have this T-bar fader, which, if you're running church production professionally, you're not really using a T-bar fader. Maybe you are, maybe that's your vibe, but we aren't here at our church. We just use the cut feature or the auto transition for that nice fade look. But essentially, if you want to use that fader for some like slower fades maybe, which you could adjust the speed of your auto fade in the menu settings. But if you want to adjust it yourself or transition it yourself in your own speeding and your own pacing, then I guess the fader would be ideal for you. Then you have your MP1 and MP2s. These are great because you can preview them or program them directly, and you can upload your own graphics, your own photos, and have that for an MP1 or MP2. At our church, we use the MP1 for our YouTube thumbnail, and then MP2 for the sermon series graphic to highlight our sermon series. So you can get really creative. You can also activate your downstream keys. So let's say if we want to use this lower third MP1 for our downstream key 1, you just click on downstream key 1. There you go. Okay, so you have to make sure that the camera that you want to mask, that input is also previewed. Okay, so make sure that number 1 is previewed. For in this case, number 1 is that camera feed that we want to downstream key to. Now that is essentially everything that you have here on the top or the inside of your kit. It comes with this beautiful 14-inch monitor that's embedded in the case. The box does come with additional strips. So if this kind of strip breaks, then you could replace the strip. I'm guessing this is just a processor or a connector for the monitor into the board. It does have a fan embedded, which you could adjust the loudness of the fan inside the menu setting. You can adjust the fan to be lower, quieter or louder. You can also adjust that inside the setting, which I thought was pretty cool. They allowed you to make those adjustments. Now on the side of your kit, you have these clamps that you can easily connect a camera, a light, a tripod to. It's like a shoe mount that you can easily slide accessories into. Then they have cheese plates on the side of their boards, and in the bottom of their board, they have these cheese plates that you can easily adapt or connect into a tripod. Now for the back of this kit is where you have your inputs. Ideally at first glance, it was kind of interesting to see that there is not a cover for these inputs. I do think that Osee can have some sort of a cover for protection, because you just have these SDI inputs just kind of exposed there with all of these other HDMI inputs. So I do think that having a cover would be more ideal and safer for this setup. So if anything bumps into it, nothing breaks or gets damaged. And they do have these black plastic I guess covers for the SDI inputs to kind of protect it, quote unquote. But they were like super difficult to remove. I don't know why. But once you remove them, I wouldn't put them back in because it would be a hassle. So you have those 4 HDMI inputs along with the 4 SDI inputs, and then 2 outputs. So this is where your 2 outputs are. It's not 2 of the same output. It's only 1 HDMI output and 1 SDI output. You could split those outputs like we said earlier, but they are 1 HDMI and 1 is SDI. And then you have your 2 USB outputs. This again is for your hard drive. So that way you can do the ISO recording. You have to use a hard drive and you have to plug in the hard drive in order for the ISO recording to be activated or for it to work. You then have your Ethernet connection right next to that. You would have to plug this in via Ethernet in order for this to connect to the control software. Then right next to that, you have your XLR Mic 2 input. Again, that's an odd place to put it because the first input is on the top and then the second input is in the back. For power, you have your PC cable or a DC cable. Those are your 2 inputs that you can use for power. And then you have a USB-C so you can give something power, which I thought was pretty cool. Now that is all for the Osee Duet 8 ISO GoStream kit. My final thoughts for it is, if you are a church that's just getting started in live streaming, this has you covered. And ideally, if you're a church that is portable, where you have to take down and put up your setup every week, I can see this for you as well. I don't know how reliable this would be for a multiple live stream production. However, if you're doing like a side project, a podcast, if you're doing, a live stream outside of your control room where you need a quick switcher or a quick solution to go live with, then this would be ideal. We're actually going to show you some footage of us using this in a podcast that we're recording for our church, and how we're using this to film and capture all of our cameras, switch between cameras, and even record the program feed. Now, if you've watched to this part of the video, here is some exciting news because we are giving this away to a church. If you are in need of a video switcher like this, where you have your all-in-one setup here, your MultiView monitor, your live stream, your multi-camera input for a video switcher, if you want this for your church because you absolutely need it and you're based in the US, so in the United States, You can't be overseas or abroad. You have to be a US applicant. We are giving this away. Now, in order to enter to the giveaway, you have to be subscribed to our YouTube channel. You have to like this video and also comment why this would be a blessing or why this would be of good help for your church. We'll be announcing the winner in 30 days from today, the release of this video. Besides that, if you are interested in purchasing this setup for your church, you can hit the link down below. Osee has sent us out this beautiful setup, and we really do recommend this for your church if you're starting, if you're setting up. If you're a portable church, then we do recommend this for your setup. Now, in my opinion, the price is fair. It's not too pricey. I mean, we've purchased a $5,000 video board, and this pretty much does what that does and even a little bit more. Now, I wouldn't say it's as reliable or as consistent as our Blackmagic 810 television studio, but this does the job and it gets the job done. That is it for this video. Thank you again, Osee, for sending this beautiful setup and this kit to us, and we hope that we get to bless one of you guys watching out there. So thank you so much for joining, and thank you for watching. Until next time.